This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by Marabella, Kincaid, Frederick, and Marabella, serving Chicagoland communities for more than 70 years.
Hello, and welcome to Dana Being Dana. I'm Dana Michelle, and I'm thrilled you're with us. My show is about all different aspects of the human connection, things that bring us together and living life intentionally. Dating, love, and relationships are some of my favorite topics. I am passionate about people finding the companionship they seek and the love they desire. I often encounter people who have a fear of dating because they just don't know how to get started. This is the episode to watch. I'm joined by 4 single friends of mine who have experience in this modern dating world, and they are here to give you their expert advice. Are y'all ready?
Yes.
So are there people out there that are really not ready to date, who put themselves out there to date?
Oh, yes. I believe so.
How can you tell? Someone who's not ready, who's on an app or who you meet in person?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, ladies first.
Thank you. Well, I think for me, it's like their conversation, right? So you can kind of tell pretty quickly if someone is what their intentions are. So if it's, the intentions that you're looking for, if you're seeking like a relationship, or if you're just seeking someone to like hang out with or, do other things with as well. So I think it starts with the conversation.
I agree with her. It all depends how the conversation goes. It's the consistency of the conversation, whether you're on an app or if you move off the app, through phone, through your cell phone and everything, you really see where this is going to go quickly and how interested they wanted to be to get together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also think that it's 2 ways that you can date, as you said earlier. You're dating for companionship or you're dating for a long-term relationship. So although a person may think they're ready for a long-term relationship, they're really just ready for companionship and they can't distinguish between the two. So.
Yeah. 3 of you have been married before. How is dating different after divorce?
I think the dating after divorce there's a healing period after divorce that a lot of people don't do, and they don't understand that they have to do. I would say, for me, it took about 1.5 years, 2 years, and you have to learn. You have to know about yourself and get to know yourself all over again, if that makes sense. There's a lot of alone time that, especially for a divorced dad, that you're not used to, because usually the mother has most of the time with the kids. You get them every other weekend, which is great, but I like that, pick up and drop off. That's me, whatever I can help. But you have to learn and understand that you're going to spend a lot of time alone, more than you did before, and you have to accept it. And some people can't, and they always have to be with someone. I think that's a big issue sometimes.
Yeah, I love what you said. I think you're almost like you have to like reimagine what your life is going to be, right? Because you had this idea of like, okay, like I'm marrying my spouse like forever. We're gonna have this family, and like that's all like she wrote, right? So like when you get like divorced, it's like you have to take a step back and reimagine what you want for your life. And the other thing I would say too is through that like healing process, you kind of get like laser focused on, okay, these are the things like I really need and that are mission critical for me as I move forward. And these are some things that are like nice to have. And like, you just don't have time for like the BS, especially when you have kids, right?
Yeah.
Right. How sexy is confidence in the dating world? Are you attracted to confidence?
I think I'm attracted to confidence because it's a situation where you're not responsible for carrying the getting to know you process. So if a person lacks confidence, they're probably not going to share as much. You're going to lead most of the conversations because they're not just that outgoing person who's going to bring something to the conversation, either it's because they're just not able to or just not comfortable yet. So.
What do women want when it comes to dating? What do you think women are looking for?
Sex. No, I'm joking.
At all. Everything.
Just sex? Want it all? Okay.
I think it depends. I think it really depends on their values and what they're looking for, because, I have a Christian value and view on it. So it's like my one thing is I do want someone that is a man of God, that seeks God and that has a relationship with God.
Yep.
So it is challenging in the world that we live in today because Everyone has different levels of the relationship with God too, and everyone has a different what they expect their partner. So it's nice to see someone that maybe in the same level or like equally yoked in that, because you want to be able to, you know, when you're not at your best, you have someone that can pour into you. And in that form, it's, you know, the Word of God. So it helps me, and that's in what I seek, you know.
Yeah.
And I would just build on that. For me, it's like I want to be, you know, seen, heard, like valued, respected, and ultimately, like I want like a life partner, right? Like I have to be happy within myself,
Right.
and I want someone to like add to that happiness.
Yeah.
But I need them to do some of the basics.
Yeah. So what do men want? Is the answer still sex?
Yeah.
No, I think I think it depends on the individual. So, because everyone has different needs. So if you are,
Stages of their life too.
yeah, because
know?
your needs definitely will change. And based on that, I think you have to have someone who is also evolving and changing as well, so they can meet you at these different levels and stages
There's going
that
to be
you might
different
be in.
times, like you said, evolving and changing. For me, it's two teenagers, you know, that were on the go with sports, you know, and I'm going to a ton of games. You know, I'm not going to miss a game. You know, this is my one chance to be a dad, right? And they have to accept that. And I have to accept what their schedule is too. It's just not all about me. It's about them too. They have kids, you know, and that's when you're dating someone with kids at the ages before they go to college. You have to understand there's gonna be times where I'm going away this weekend with them, and I'm going doing this, and the ex-husband's gonna be there. You have to be able to handle that as a person, and vice versa, you know.
Right.
And like I said, he said it perfectly. Evolving and changing, like right down in my stage in my life, it's getting the kids off to college and trying to get all this stuff done, you know, everything else, and then I'll have more free time. Right now, I don't have I have a certain amount of free time, and that's it.
Are people still meeting in real life, or is it all online dating?
So wait, clarify that. Meeting and what do you mean meeting? Like meeting people, or people picking up people at bars and stuff like that?
Not necessarily picking up people. But,
Okay.
But are people still meeting, dating, connecting, sparking interests in real life without the assistance of apps, or is it all online?
I think social media has definitely impacted the way that we date. And as far as it depends on what age you are in terms of like how and the size of your network, because you could reach a point where you are pretty familiar with the network and how many people are out there. So the opportunity just to go out and meet someone new may not exist for you, depending on how you are positioning yourself. In terms of like meeting a person just that I don't know, it would typically come through like a friend. And to be honest, we just don't have as many social gatherings where you're bringing groups of friends together who are bringing friends. So you have a lot of times where you're just limited in your access.
I think it depends too, though, because like you mentioned about just stepping out and kind of where you're networking. And I mean, every day I always think, because I'm just this hopeless romantic, you know, you never know where you're going to meet someone. And grocery stores, you go to the gym, there's so many places. And it's not like you're seeking it, but it's just like you really never know who you're going to meet. Yeah. I mean, I've met friends and I've made friends at a grocery store, you know, so who's to say that I wouldn't be able to meet like a life partner? It's not, I always tell people, you know, always dress to impress, always like feel good, you look good, you get your confidence up, you know. When you're kind of like sluggish and going out running errands, you know, you don't feel confident, but when you're confident, you walk in the room like you own something, you own that grocery store, you never know who you're gonna meet. So I'm always like, you know, confidence, be good, be like, you know, I don't know. I just think always be hopeless and romantic, and you never know who you're gonna meet. So I've known people that have met and have married their partner that they didn't have to do it through like Tinder or like any of those.
They met in the frozen food section.
Yes.
Dressed to impress, hot and
You gotta
confident.
get your bacon looking great.
We're going to be talking about finding love in all different types of places when we come back. You're watching Dana Being Dana. Don't go away.
This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by Marabella, Kincaid, Frederick, and Marabella, serving Chicagoland communities for more than 70 years.
Welcome back to Dana Being Dana. We are talking about dating, love, and relationships. Gentlemen, I would love to ask you, what is the most attractive features of a woman?
A well-rounded person, I think, is really what I look for. It's not just one feature, because you can find different things. One person may be strong in this area that is so strong that you could find that, desirable. For example, like looks. You can be a very attractive person, or you could be a very smart person that's relatively attractive. So
Relatively attractive. It's a nice way to say ugly. Mike?
I think as I'm evolving, I love that word you said, that I am finding myself wanting more of a full package, right? I like going to the gym. I like doing this. I like doing that. Kind of want someone who's going to want it or already does it, right? They go to the gym. They don't mind going to a movie by themselves, or let's go hit the movies tonight or something like that, and doing something fun, or just staying home, and just having that time with each other, because you've been too busy running around or traveling for work, or running around traveling with the kids. There's nothing wrong at just staying home anymore and making dinner. And I think a big thing that's lost is romance in the kitchen between a couple. I was blessed. I had two parents that could really cook. I didn't notice the romance back then, but you notice it when you get older.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, they had it, but we didn't notice it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very lost art today.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole combination, but mutual interest in what you like to do.
Ladies, what's the most attractive feature for men?
I would say for me, it's like, it goes back to what Sam said. It's like the mind, body, spirit, like alignment, someone that's a whole, right? And like they know who they are. And that for me, I also like to work out. So you need to also work out as well.
Yeah.
And if not, we can certainly make adjustments so you can, get on the Peloton, what have you. But like
The car is leaving at 4.
Exactly.
At 3:58.
Exactly. But also, and again, Sam, with the evolve theme, I want someone that is willing to evolve, knowing that who you are today is not going to be like who you are, tomorrow or 10 years from now, but someone that has that growth mindset that's willing and open to change and evolve.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. It's like having someone that's got goals and is wanting to achieve them, that you see that they motivate themselves, and that in reality they can do it themselves. It's not like they're seeking someone else to bring them up. It's they got things going, and it's attractive. And obviously, you want to be physically attractive, but all of that, you want to
You could
have
be a beautiful person,
Right.
but there's nothing inside.
exactly.
And then man or
it's
woman,
like,
let's be very honest.
Yeah.
I think you also, for me at least, new experiences, a person who has previous experiences in areas that I don't, that can introduce me to new things, I definitely find that to be attractive.
Goes along with your evolving theme.
Yes.
Evolving.
Yes. Yeah, so it helps me to evolve.
Helps you to evolve.
Yeah, so every person that you date should, if you date them seriously, should actually add to you. So if a person doesn't have anything to add, even if you part, they should leave you with something in terms of growth and exposure.
So let's talk about the initial interaction. Should women make the first move? And if they do men take it seriously?
They don't make the first move. We're still living in the 1950s.
Is it the 50s?
Okay, so my experience has the man always has to make the first move. The man has to come up to a woman at a bar or a grocery store in the frozen food section.
Yeah, I
somewhere.
hope so.
You never hear oh, how'd you guys meet? She came up to me at a bar and started talking to me and asked me out or bought me a drink. You never hear that. You always hear the opposite, right? You hear that, oh, he asked me out or he hit me up on Hinge or Tinder or whatever app you're on. You rarely hear the other way. You rarely hear the other way.
Would you take it seriously though?
Oh yeah. Why not?
Yeah, that's actually not been my experience. So
Right. You haven't had women
Yes.
He said
Yeah.
evolved women
Yeah.
approach him.
Evolved women approach him. I love it.
I mean, you can tell if a person likes you and positions themselves in such a way that, although it might be not asking you out per se, but women can make themselves available and display interest so that basically it's an opportunity that's been presented to you, even though they haven't just necessarily walked up and asked you out.
That's their first move.
That's
I like
true.
That.
Dr. Laura said, who she'll be on the next segment, she said one of the most attractive features to a man of a woman is her smile. And I think it's because that's invitational to a man, to approach and make them feel welcome and more confident, that they would be received warmly. Do you think people in the dating world have trust issues?
Oh yeah.
I think definitely if a person is fresh out of a relationship that had infidelity, there's definitely going to be a lack of trust. And depending on when you encounter them, if you're the first person to encounter a person who had a relationship that had infidelity, you're probably more so a transitional figure because they're going to need some time. They're going to need some time to process, what's going on with them, and you're going to take a big brunt of their adjustment.
Yeah. We call that rebound. That's a nice way to say that. So what are the fun parts of dating? I think dating can be exciting. It's new chapters, new experiences, new people. What about it is fun?
I think getting to know the person.
Yeah.
You know,
Enjoying the process.
and introducing to new experiences that you've never have, especially it's a different culture. You're dating outside your culture and you're learning all the new stuff. I'm like, wow, I never tasted this. This is great. No, I never knew that. This is great. And you're open-minded to it because some people are very closed-minded to it, and it's okay, whatever you want to stay in your culture or not. But I think it's 2022, right? It can be 2023, and you have to be more open-minded than ever before.
It's like exploring like the possibilities, right? It's being like the hopeless romantic and like, oh my God, like our first kiss or like our first like insert whatever activity or adventure experience it is. It's just the newness and like not sure necessarily like where it might lead to, but like you're just really enjoying the journey.
It can be a lot of fun.
And I think we also are multifaceted in that you have different interests. So a person might appeal to a set of interests that you have that allows you to bond with that person. And another person may have a different interest that you are also interested in. So the relationships are totally different just based off of the connection you have with that person and where you are existing. If the person is like really intelligent and you can have intelligent conversations with them about a variety of topics, then that's a great person. But if a person is really relaxed and fun, and they can bring that fun side of you back out that might have been suppressed because you've been dealing with a more serious mate. That can also.
Does sex change the dynamic of a relationship?
I've always said you don't really know a person until you've had sex with them because that allows that person to be more comfortable and to actually be their true selves as opposed to always being on guard, because the sex and the intimacy basically it opens you and it opens them to being their true self. So the rest of that is just the representative prior to the sex.
Vulnerability of opening, really being that intimacy.
I would say the opposite, honestly, too, because I think one of the things is when you get to meet someone, you actually get to meet them for who they are. I think right now, a lot of times is people get in a lustful relationship and they think that they're in love with this person, but in reality, it's just the chemistry and all of this sparks, and you're so excited. And then I have this like theory almost where we've seen so many movies where it's like the 3-month rule, and it's like the girl's not gonna let the guy get into the pants until like 3 months. And so you have this man trying to charm this woman for 3 months, and then she, lets him get into her pants. And then, we'll say 3 months of like 3, 4, 5 months of awesome sex, great relationship. And then the reality of it comes through and you actually start to get to know this person.
Yeah.
Because now you're seeing them for not just, I was trying to woo them for 3 months and now we had awesome sex and now I don't want to be in this relationship with this person. And I feel that there might be people that have gotten into a marriage because of that. And sometimes it's hard because we mix our feelings and our emotions when we're in that lustful thought and in the emotions versus actually like getting to know me, like know me when I'm angry, know me when I'm, without the sex, like get to know me, you know, and I feel like that's.
But is it really possible to get to know the person if they're on their best behavior? They're not going to respond to you the same way. They're probably more likely to go along with you. So you won't necessarily get to see that side of them, in my opinion, until they reach that level of comfort that they're going to just, be themselves. I'm really a jerk, but I'm being really nice to you because I want to have sex with you.
Well,
and then
that's
after
how
the sex,
I feel that it is with, those 3 months. And it's because they're trying to, you don't see the person who they actually are because they're trying to persuade you. And instead of them being like, okay, well, she's being honest or he's being honest and telling me that I'm not going to be able to get in their pants. And if that's like a conversation from the beginning, then you're aware, okay, this person's not gonna, that's something that they're waiting for marriage, awesome. Am I going to, play the game or try, or am I gonna move elsewhere? Move elsewhere, awesome. If not, cool, let's see and get to know each other.
Right. We've had some great guests here talking about relationships and giving us some of their expert dating advice. We've got another expert joining us, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Dating and relationships on Dana Being Dana.
Stay in the know at home or on the go with NCTV 17 News Update. This quick recap of everything happening in and around town will be delivered straight to your email inbox for free. Sign up today.
This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by Marabella, Kincaid, Frederick, and Marabella, serving Chicagoland communities for more than 70 years.
Welcome back to Dana Being Dana, where we are talking about love, dating, and relationships. Joining me now is Dr. Laura Bocard, an author and a relationship specialist. Dr. Laura, you heard from our real-life experts on the earlier segment. What is your reaction?
I did, Dana, and what a great group of guests you had. It was very interesting. They were all so different and different ideas and different ways that they wanted to date. So as I was listening, I have some ideas, if I can share them, that I think might be helpful to try to make some sense of it. One, everybody's different, so we need to accept that. So people are going to do dating differently. One, to take their time. Take their time and to know what they want. And they were talking about, as they were talking, they knew what they wanted. You could see they had thought about it. But the one thing that I think can be really helpful is when people know what they're attracted to. And what I mean by that is there's 5 areas that people get attracted to. There's physical, there's financial, there's mental, and then there's the emotional intelligence and the spiritual side. So in the top 3 is the chemistry part. So you're talking about chemistry and spirituality, there's differences in there, but the top 3, which is the physical, the financial, and the mental part, is the chemistry.
So financial is chemistry?
It is, Dana, and it's interesting because you might see something that someone has and it just kind of makes a spark for you. And then the mental part, of course, is the intellect. You like the way they think and like the way they communicate. So the top 3 are really chemistry, but that can be with lots of people. So that could be with someone you're just passing, right? If you have a physical chemistry, it could be at the person at the coffee shop or at church or just in your office. So chemistry is an important part of the relationship, but it's the last 2, which is the emotional intelligence and the spirituality, which is values, are the 2 that are going to be integrated that makes a solid relationship. It would be really hard to just work with chemistry and to have a solid relationship, but if you bring in the other 2, that means you probably have spent time enough with them to know, are they emotionally intelligent? Do they know about empathy? Are they caring? Are they loving? Are they kind? And the spirituality, do they have the same values of you? Will we? And that makes the whole relationship. So sometimes it just helps to make sense to put things in order. And I think as your guests were talking, everyone had a certain area they were attracted to, but they all wanted the integration of them all.
I think there's a lot of people who want to get out there and get started, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
What should they do for a first step?
Two things come to mind is one, take the risk.
Take the risk.
Take
Get
the
out
risk.
there. I love it.
Take the risk. And two, something that I don't see very often, but I think is priceless, is if they take their guest or their date to their friends, to a friend's gathering. So one, it brings, right, the social piece of it, but it also has your friends meet and help you assess.
Yes.
Right? So people usually think you have to sit across the table and either have a dinner or a glass of wine, but no, have your friends be
out.
involved. Be
Be
out
out.
and be social.
Now, you wrote a book that I love. It's great. It's called We Need to Talk. And I've read it. It's fantastic. Tell us more. What is it about?
We Need to Talk, 24 Simple Insights for Relationships. It's about my 30 years of being a relationship specialist. And what I did is I integrated common issues with practical solutions in the book. Because a lot of times people think they are alone. And it really points out that you're not, but it also gives some solutions to it and what you can do to improve a relationship. And the book is for whether you're married, whether you're not married, whether you want a relationship, getting out of a relationship, thinking about a relationship, have a bad relationship. It really has little bits for all people about relationships. But the real purpose of it is to bring hope and healing.
Hope and healing. I love it. You said that love, the chapter, Love is Friendship on Fire,
Yes.
is fantastic. I think it's really, really great. So congratulations on the book.
Thank you, Dana.
I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
Finding love is hard and staying in love is harder. What advice do you have for couples to maintain a healthy relationship with one another?
Well, the one thing that's helpful to know is that the foundation of a great relationship is friendship. And just like it with Lit on Fire, yes, intimacy is a part of that, but really to make it solid, it's friendship. And when you have that, it really goes into some things to identify. So I use the 3 A's, which is really showing that you appreciate the person, that you really can honor what they are doing. 1, that you should give them attention. And 2, that you're authentic with them, so that you're real. You can be sad, happy, scared, and those can all be shared. But an important one for the relationship that gets lost is the attention one. And when you say attention, I'm talking about priority. Laugh with them, solve problems together, talk about the future, and evolve, as Sam was saying, the word for the day, and evolve with them and learn things together. But also, there is a piece of independence, that people need to go out on their own to learn new things and bring that back into the relationship to help the relationship evolve. So have the trust in the relationship that people can go do that, right? Because it's really important for people to know that the quality of life has to do with the quality of the relationships.
The quality of life has to do with
Determines the
relationship.
quality of the...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very well said. Thank you
you.
so much for joining me.
Thank you,
Your
Dana.
book is fantastic.
Thank
We Need to
you
Talk.
so
I think
much.
everybody should grab a copy for happy, healthy relationships. Finding love isn't easy, and keeping love is even harder. But that doesn't mean you should stop trying. All relationships fail but one. So remember that and don't give up. I believe that love is out there for all of us and that you deserve the love that you desire. We've had great advice today from all kinds of experts, and I hope that you found it useful, whether you are single or not. Thank you to these wingmen for joining me today. Special thanks to the fantastic law firm Mirabella, Kincaid, Frederick, and Mirabella, specializing in family, employment, criminal, and other areas of law. Hopefully you have been entertained, if not encouraged or inspired. I do not promise to be an expert, nor do I have all the answers. I'm just Dana being Dana. See you next time.
This episode of Dana Being Dana is brought to you in part by Mirabella, Kincaid, Frederick, and Mirabella, serving Chicagoland communities for more than 70 years.